They are a senior-weighted team. They have control. They run the guards. They have senior guards, and they're going to come at you. And they have to take care of it. If they take care of the basketball, it's going to be a heck of a game. This is all going to be, they have to take care of it. Gets to the half court, they're going to score.
By this time, these two teams are families. You heard the family connections run thick, not only on the roster, but with the broadcast group here today. It's nice to have you with us as we tip off the 3A women's title game. And just like that, takes no time for Emory Anderson to lay one home and put the Cardinals out front. East Surry off the bus, ready to go for the high noon start. We're happy you're with us for our broadcast presented by Riddle and Riddle Injury Lawyers across Sinclair's family of networks in the Carolinas and beyond to bring you live coverage all day long on this Championship Friday in North Carolina. Here's a three ball that goes up off the back of the iron and eventually down. And there's Amari Buckham with our initial Paramount Auto three-pointer.
I mentioned you got to make shots. She made it.
So we get a bucket on one end right off the tip. We get a three on the other side. Safe to say, Coach, both these teams ready to roll.
Yeah, nice drive.
Drive down the right side. Biddy Phillips couldn't get it to fall. Back the other way. Here's Smith. She'll slow it up. And another three. This time Brown, and that's off the iron. It's down the right side. A little too strong off the glass. It was Emory Anderson who started the scoring, one of those senior guards. Nothing since for East Surry. The Cardinals settling in as the Cougars bring it up the floor.
Well, Goldsboro wants to full court pressure, but East Surry has to score.
Little window at the elbow to fire it up.
They got to score first, Goldsboro, then they can press.
Smith couldn't get it to fall. Other end, this a little wild pass-wise, and it goes out of bounds. Going to be Goldsboro basketball. What are you watching for early in this one, Coach?
The big girl, the scorer. Let's see if go inside. I want to say Goldsboro go inside now of that, because as soon as they can score, they can go into the pressure. But without the scoring, they can't press.
That sets the stage for the pressure, which is the trademark for this squad. Looking for that kind of bucket right now.
Number 42,
Talking about Boyer. This is going to be a bucket forced up by Smith. She almost got that to fall. Taking it herself toward the rim and drawing the foul. There's our first whistle. Have not yet introduced you to our officials. It is a accomplishment to be selected to call these state championship games for an official as well. David Strickland, Sophia Davis, Bryce Long, and the standby official in this one is Christopher Marzin. But Mr. Strickland, Miss Davis, Mr. Long responsible for things in this one. And I know you always had very close relationships with all the officials that worked your games.
I was just thinking, I wonder if they get any paid more for this one. Do they get paid? In college, they get more.
They certainly get the honor of being selected for this, as you see the Tatum and Atkinson free throw opportunities being handled by Alyssa Brown, and that's off the back of the iron. Here's Sechrist. Slowed up out top, Biddy Phillips. You got four all-conference players surrounding the 3A, 4A player of the year. That's one of those all-conference players, Biddy Phillips, and she's a sophomore.
They have it. And they're well coached. They pass the ball, they share the ball, they play hard defense. Jason, if Goldsboro, they have to score to do their thing defensively. They missed 2 foul shots.
Didn't get the opportunity to set it up so far. East Surry looking strong, up 4-3 with the basketball. That is going to be out of bounds. The pestering defense there a little bit from Buckham, but it ends up being East Surry basketball. Coach, I'll go back to that. They have 4 all-conference players and the Northwest 3A, 4A player of the year in the starting lineup. Smith is also all-conference coming off the bench. When you've got 6 that received all-conference honors, you just pick your poison with this group.
That's why Goldsboro cannot play a half-court game with them. They're too smart, and they're experienced kids. So it's going to take Goldsboro to score so they can get their pressing.
Well, that was Boyer cleaning the boards, but the handle is lost, and here's Emory Anderson gathering it up. Biddy Phillips to slow it down. She's a sophomore guard at 5'9". And again, everybody in the lineup is, but one of those all-conference players. And she'll float one just inside the free throw line. What a job to save possession right there. Won't matter as much, but Sechrist was pretty impressive right there. Maggie Sechrist. Fast break chance, laid home by Naira Smith.
So they didn't try.
takeaway, not completely, as Boaz will slow it up. There's a turnaround at the elbow, front of the iron, goes right back to Green. Green will try it again. This time it works.
Now, there's such a big difference when we say a sophomore. In college, it's not that much of a difference, but size-wise, when you're talking about sophomores and seniors, not tall, but strength-wise, it's a big difference. And East Surry's got 4 seniors starting.
And the 1 sophomore, you said it. It's nice to have all that leadership around a sophomore like Phillips. Here's Boaz down the left side, and here's a whistle. It comes with 3:50 to go in the opening period, and East Surry out front by a count of 6-5. We tipped it off in the 3A title game, and our broadcast presented by Riddle and Riddle Injury Lawyers going to continue from Winston on the other side of the break. Fans enjoying themselves this early afternoon start. Here's a look at some of those that have made their way to Winston-Salem on our Original Grills fan cam. Elevate your grill game. That's Original Grills, and it's sponsor of our fan cam throughout the course of the weekend. And of course, the cheerleaders are here, leading everybody in spirit. You saw fans from the youngest of ages to those who have generational memories of these teams in championship environments. Everybody having a good time in Winston-Salem. I know we are.
We are, and the girls out there have nerves. They're a little nervous. And I would say Goldsboro's a little more nervous than East Surry because they're younger.
It's going to come with that state championship environment, isn't it? And one of the jobs of those coaches is you got a good look at Coach Jay Boaz right there, watching his niece roll this home for a Tatum and Atkinson free throw. One of their jobs to calm these young ladies down. Again, the strong family connection worth underscoring. This is the niece of Jay Boaz, Addison Boaz, who is the senior all-conference ball handler as well, and you talked about it. He has a luxury of individuals who can handle the ball well.
Yeah, he does. Basically, they're all guards.
Nice move. And then the toss to Ford. Initially taken away, and the foul is going to be called to send it the other direction.
You know, I say, and make shots, make shots. Goldsboro's taking good shots, but you're in the state championship, you've got to make shots. You know, they've got to get those things in there.
Well, it's worth us talking about. We haven't mentioned it yet, but you got a different environment from a depth perception standpoint and other things than you do in a high school gymnasium, Coach.
Exactly. Nerves, and yeah, the court's longer, it's bigger.
You look down and you see the Demon Deacon on the floor, and you see that Wake Forest logo at the center of the court. There's got to be a little nerves.
Right, exactly. And
see it playing out a little bit in the early stages here. East handling it a little better to the tune of an 8-5 advantage right now. Move the basketball well.
They move it well. They do a good job. They share the ball well.
Window in the lane, and there was contact, so it appears as if Biddy Phillips is going to go to the line. Now let's talk about Biddy Phillips just a moment as she heads to the free throw line. Here's how she ended up there. You see the contact.
Right. I don't know if there was a foul, and there wasn't one.
There's going to be a whistle.
She fell though.
At the end on Boyer. Let's talk about Phillips just a moment. She is that lone sophomore in the midst of all that senior leadership. Really helps a young player grow up when she's surrounded by this kind of cast.
And her dad was a smart player. I mean, really, I didn't coach him, but I recruited him and wanted him.
What was it that drew you to him from the just the evaluation standpoint and the desire to go ahead and say, hey, we're going to move forward with this? What were the intangibles he brought to the table?
He knew the game. He totally knew the game. He was a decent player. He was a good player, but he knew the game and he played so hard. Gosh, he played hard. I recruited him, like I said, and I didn't sign him. I signed him, but I didn't coach him.
Oh, selection process there. Here's a fast break chance. Won't work out, even though the numbers were there. Here's Goldsboro.
That's a good score. That's it.
And laying it off the glass, Boyer. That's what you've been waiting for. Remember, Boyer went over 1,000 points this year. She reached that threshold. You can see how.
Right, and she shoots a high percentage, and that's a high percentage shot she took.
Boyer for the first time in the scorebook in this one. The lead just 3 for East Surry. Little disruption there. Nice job by Seacrease getting back and disrupting. Slow it up just a little bit. A reminder, shot clock not a factor in these high school basketball games.
I'm not sure if East Surry is in the zone. I think. Yeah, I guess they were. They're out of it now. No, they're not. They're in the zone.
Just extending it a little bit for you there. Down the lane it goes left side. Smith can't get it to go. Here's the putback. Second chance pays off.
That's her.
Suddenly Boyer coming to life as she does. It's a 1-point game with under 2 to play in the first. Handled, grabbed by Boaz. She is going to have it turned aside. That's Buckham. Not the tallest individual on the floor, but makes her presence known with the block.
Good block. You know, Goldsboro now got their feet. They're ready to play. They're ready to play. Look at that.
Watch Amari Buckham work in there.
That's really
and
nice.
Use every bit of elevation she's got to turn that aside.
Now, East Surry has to take care of the basketball. They have to take care of that.
Reset out top to Biddy Phillips. How about a move here? And now the 3 ball that will rim off. It's an effort for Mackenzie Smith. Mackenzie Smith is the other. She tried to take it away there. She's the other of the all-conference players. Comes off the bench for this group. Again, a wealth of riches. 6 all-conference performers, including Smith, who guards the ball handler here. 1 minute remaining in the opening period. 19 points between them. 1 point separating them here in Winston.
They're doubling Boyer down low, so they'll put 2 people on.
Well, the stop pop from the elbow. Buckham had a good look there, but it wouldn't fall.
So what they're doing is, because Boyer's so effective, they're putting 2 people down there. And,
a little double team right
now. Yeah, and East Surry, now what they do offensively, I'm watching them, they like to gap and kick it out. Gap again. One thing about gapping, you got to be strong with the ball. And they've lost it twice. You got to be strong when you go into that gap.
Emery Anderson back into the game at that horn, and she becomes the trigger inbound after a few moments of a breather. Taken away by Brown. So you're talking about when East Surry has the ball, the strongest of passes necessary in those gaps to make it a reality. We'll see it the next time it comes to this end. Right now, Goldsboro trying to make something happen in the final seconds of the first. They will. How about this? Down the heart of the lane goes the junior, Alyssa Brown. She's one of the all-conference performers for the Cougars. 3 in the starting lineup. Buckham, Brown, Boyer. Another takeaway. Speaking of Buckham, here she is. Just ahead of the horn, and for the first time, East Surry, or excuse me, Goldsboro, going to push themselves out there. It was East Surry throughout the course of that first period, leading the way, setting the tone and the pace, but a little spurt from the Cougars of Goldsboro down the stretch in the first to take command of the basketball game after 1. Here are your Arthritis Knee Pain Center stats from the first quarter. Arthritis Knee Pain Center, relief without surgery, are opioids. And they're checking the stats for us. What jumps off the stat sheet at you, Coach?
Really, there's nothing. They're both very similar. Both teams have to take care of the basketball. They're losing the ball too much. That's about it. Everything else basically the same.
We also track the point in the paints for you. Here are the ready-to-roll garage door points in the paint for period number 1. Call Riley's Garage Door Experts today. That's ready-to-roll garage doors. Well, we found out these two teams were ready to roll. Both of them scored on their initial baskets of the first period, and that trend's going to continue here in the second for Goldsboro.
And here goes the pressure. They have to be patient, take care of the ball, pass the ball. You do not want to dribble a lot against these kids.
You've heard Coach talking about it.
Do not want to dribble the ball.
You've heard him talk about it throughout, that Goldsboro's trademark is that pressure. They're able to set it up after the made basket there, and we'll see if East Surry has an answer on this end of the floor. It'll stay with the Cardinals. If you look at Coach Boaz, but what a job he's done with this group, preparing them for a state title environment. They look to answer. They will. Rolled home by Maggie Sechrist. What a job by the senior point guard.
There's some pressure, full court pressure. Good steal.
Takeaway. Addison Boaz lays it back home. Just like that, East Surry pulls right back.
That was just a bad pass.
Into the hands of Mackenzie Smith, who brings it up the floor. Numbers there for the 3-on-2. And unable to hang on to it, East Surry will turn it over. 5 turnovers in that first period for East Surry, 4 for Goldsboro. And this is going to be going Goldsboro's direction with 7:06 to play in the second. Of course,
Goldsboro's a really, really fast team. So what you do not want to dribble against them. A lot against them. It's full court pressure here.
Well worked by Goldsboro, and the finish is there for Anaya Ford, the senior.
I think they're just feeling each other out. They'll find out if they want to do that or not. Full court trap. That's what I'm talking about. They're going to drive, and you got to be strong with the ball when you're dribbling.
This defense requires it.
And you don't want to dribble a lot.
Look from 3, and there will be 3 shots coming from the free throw line as the see-through construction free throw line is about to be in effect on this foul call.
That's a good call. You know, again, make shots. Championship game, you got to make them. After a game like this, people go, we should have made it. During the year, we made it. Well, make it. You got to make them now.
This is the time to step up at the see-through construction free throw line. See-through construction, your contractor of choice on the OBX. See-through construction, sponsors of our free throw line. And again, 3 of them coming here as East Surry will try to utilize them to pull all the way back even. And what a true stroke from Mackenzie Smith from the free throw line. You know, we talked about a sophomore in the starting lineup a moment ago. She's a freshman, Coach. Smith, the freshman at the line, getting the job done. No jitters in the state championship environment for her just yet.
I saw a little jitties after she made the first foul shot. She was like, took a little.
That was the exhale moment. Yeah, you got it. Just kind of take a deep breath. She makes all 3, and it's a brand new basketball game at 17 apiece.
Ooh, could have walked.
And you called for it on the other end. Buckham does here, and it'll be East Surry basketball. East Surry, a win at home over Mountain Heritage in the 4th round to advance to the Western Final for the first time since 2020. And they clinched the conference title with a win over Mount Airy. You know the rivals in that area, right? They come from the Mayberry portion of the state of North Carolina, this East Surry squad up in a place known for its roots. It's bluegrass. It's down-home atmosphere. And certainly they come into the championship environment riding high after a big-time run through the West in the playoffs. You know, these Cardinals already showing, Coach, they're equipped to handle this environment.
They are. They're smart. They're smart. The only thing, when they do gap dribble, they go in there and dribble, they're a little weak with it. But other than that, they're a very well-coached team.
Betty Phillips is going to inbound here. We'll tell you about Goldsboro's path here in just a moment as we turn our attention to Goldsboro. But East Surry doing such a nice job to turn it into a state championship, at least participating year. These two teams trying to make it a state championship year overall. tie up, the possession arrow will keep it right where it is. Possession arrow, alternating possession arrow is with the Cardinals, so it'll remain East Surry ball. Just under 6 minutes to play in the opening half, and so far, these two teams dead even. You thought we might have a good one here to get things started at noon.
It's going to get better and better because they're getting comfortable with playing in the environment.
The attempted Paramount Key of Asheville three-pointer is just off the mark. Slowing things up now is Brown. Well, it was a win over Kinston, 4 wins over James Keenan, and a big win over Northwood. Those are the highlight moments that the Goldsboro Cougars were talking about rolling in to this state championship environment for Coach Bryant and her crew. What a run for this group. Principal Mario Ray, the AD, Ronnie McClary Jr. And you saw Coach Bryant, her team with just the 2 setbacks all season long at 29-2 campaign. Over to the far side, there was a window to shoot, stepping inside it, and that was disrupted just enough that it'll be into the hands of 4. Out front, there's Boyer. Remember, a couple of back-to-back baskets in that first period, and she had it lined up on the turnaround, but it was just a bit too strong.
Good shot.
Most of the time, that's fallen for you. Out of bounds to Goldsboro.
Got to slow it down a little bit. Turn it over. Too much, both teams.
Well, a reminder, you want to stick around. At the intermission, we're going to have our air experts heating and cooling halftime report. We'll have a special interview with Q Tucker, Commissioner of the North Carolina High School Athletic Association. First time half highlights, a whole lot more. Air Experts, schedule your tune-up today at airexperts.com. They're the sponsors of our halftime report here at the 3A Women's State Championship game. We get a whistle and a foul underneath. There's another look at it for you here. Break down what we saw, Coach.
She got fouled. She should have fouled. She was dribbling out of bounds.
First personal, I should mention, on Boaz. Here comes the inbound.
I tell you, when Boyers at the end, you think about going down third, fourth quarter, put the ball in Boyers' hand side, you're going to get some buckets, but you have to get it to him.
And that's what East Surry has disrupted for the most part thus far in this game. Those passing lanes to Boyer. Boyer out at the top of the key right now.
But see, they put 2 people on. They're sagging a person over so they can't throw it to her.
Double team action. She comes away with this. Her putback won't go. And this is going to be out of bounds to East Surry. You saw Kennedy Barber there a moment ago into the game. She's right behind Boyer right there, wearing jersey number 1. The freshman seeing some time for Goldsboro as well off the bench for this Cougar squad.
Boyer's going to have to get some offensive rebounds. If they can't get the ball into her in the low post, she'll have to get a points off offensive rebounds, which she does. She gets 8 a game.
We have to bring it up the floor. Told you about the principal AD, Joey Hurl, Chad Freeman, principal and AD for East Surry as the Cardinals battle on this end. All the administrators making a run like this possible. This is going to be a look front of the iron from Seacrest. And they had a few chances there. Nothing falling. Hey, 17 steady where it holds right now. That bucket to take the lead on both ends of the floor, hard to come by.
These girls are tied right now.
You said tired.
Yeah, they're
in that accent that I like to keep a close eye on. Yeah. They're tied and they're tired right now. Exactly. 17 apiece. And you said it, the legs getting a little heavier in these moments because of so much on the line. You've been in these championship environments. Talk about the mental piece of preparing yourself for a championship environment like this when we come back. Let you think on that one a little bit. We got a break coming in Winston-Salem. Timeout on the floor. We'll take it as well. Our Riddle and Riddle coverage of the North Carolina Championships continue in a moment. Have we seen it yet? Well, we see it a little later on. The play of the game will be selected before we complete this contest. Akeem Anastapoulos, sponsors of our player of the game. Akeem Anastapoulos, injured? Don't scream. Call Akeem. Dial 800-ALL-7s. Akeem Anastapoulos, sponsors of our play of the game. We'll also select our player of the game at the conclusion of the contest. That's brought to you by Riddle & Riddle. When justice counts, Riddle & Riddle, injury lawyers, player of the game to be selected before the conclusion of this one. And Coach, with the way we've seen it so far, may go right down to the wire before we can make those selections. Quick off the inbound, quick bucket on the other end of the floor. Well executed, and Ford has
really
the finish.
Really well. They passed the ball above the defense, and they went right to the basket.
3 and change remaining.
Really smart basketball.
In the opening half. Okay, you say smart basketball. I'm going back to that question I threw your direction just before the break. Talk about the mental approach to a championship day like this.
Well, it's hard. In college, it's different because we know each other and we know everything about players. But in high school, if you're going out different regions, it's tough. But you have to, I really believe the first half is get your feet wet and then figure it out after that.
That's a great point.
But, and also you want to see what the other team does. So it's really hard in high school because you don't have a lot of stats and stuff.
Great point. The scouting report is there in the college game. The scouting report is there certainly when you reach the top level of this sport. At this juncture, you're a team out of the West trying to face a team out of the East, a team out of the East trying to face a team out of the West, and that's a great point, Coach. You're kind of learning as you go in that first half.
I think it's like a video game. High school basketball is like a video game. You have to keep changing it as it goes, man.
And then by the third quarter, you got a pretty good sense of what you need to be doing.
I was a high school coach for 3 years up in Asheville, and that's exactly what I said. It's a video game. And I figured out who's the good players, and I play. Coach.
Down the left side of the lane it goes. Smith couldn't get it to fall. Here's East Surry.
Take your time.
Down a bucket
just
with
have to
just
take
under
your time.
2 minutes to play in the half. You said it. Settling down is key.
No rush.
Of course, you're listening to the voice of Kevin Cantwell, longtime coach on the Georgia Tech staff. That Final Four run they made, and he was here in the state of North Carolina as the head man at Appalachian State. You heard him say did some coaching on the western side of the state in the high school ranks, as well traveled in this game as anybody you'll run across, and that's some good advice for everybody all weekend. Just settle it down a bit. They'll do so with 80 seconds to play in the half. What are going to be your takeaways from this first half, though?
I really believe both teams are very similar. They run. Boy is going to be the factor inside. She's going to be a factor, I think, down the stretch. But very similar. Both teams try to do the same.
Ford couldn't quite handle that. Boyer stays with it. And how about this? Buckham gets something up.
Boyer needs to be inside, getting those rebounds.
And the foul will stop things at 54 seconds to go in the opening half. That's going to work Ford to the line. That's a first personal picked up there, so nothing to worry about on that front. But here's a chance at the free throw line.
So what Boyer sets herself up in the low post. And when she does that, they're sagging somebody in the backside of it, and the player that's played her is right there. So there's two people on her. So Boyer's going outside, but that's not helping Boyer. He needs to get back in there after she goes outside because offensive rebounds.
Makes the difference.
That's where she's good.
We remind you, coming up at the half, we're going to have the Air Experts Heating and Cooling halftime report. You'll meet Hugh Tucker, Commissioner of the North Carolina High School Athletic Association. Stats, highlights, a whole lot more coming your way as part of the Air Experts halftime report. Some work at the see-through construction free throw line, making it a 21-17 advantage now for Goldsboro. It was East Surry leading early. Goldsboro surged to the first quarter horn, and they find themselves up 4 now. That would cut it in half, and there's going to be a whistle and a foul on the floor as Biddy Phillips went in for the rebound.
Yeah. She got pushed.
It's going to be
out of bounds
on Alyssa Brown. That's a second personal on Alyssa Brown picked up there. And the foul was on Brown, even though you see Ford the one come away with the basketball. And it's going to be an inbound underneath. Seacrease going to handle it, one of the seniors, not just one of the seniors, the Northwest 3A, 4A Player of the Year inbounds here. Seacrease looks for help far side. There's Anderson. She had the first bucket of the game. Her 3 won't go. Stays here. One from this wing. That won't go either. And this time the board pulled down by Boyer.
Make shots.
16
good
seconds.
Looks, all good looks. Just
couldn't get any of them to fall, and it's going to be East Surry ball with 10 seconds to play. What do you draw up here?
A good idea there to throw it in, but she wasn't settled yet. Right here, they're going to take a three probably.
10.3.
I don't know if he has a seven. No, he doesn't.
Down to 3 seconds. Final possession of the half, it would seem, although this is out of bounds, and Goldsboro is going to have just 1 second to heave one here. Up 4, will it be more?
That wasn't a bad turnover as far as giving the ball back. So anyway, there's no time on the clock.
And got to quickly turn and heave. That'll be just off the mark, and it'll stay 21-17. Well, it ends up being a 4-0 run to close out the half, because remember, we were at 17 apiece moments ago. Goldsboro going to carry the advantage into the break.
Right, and East Surry has to watch Goldsboro. When they're breaking the press, they're throwing it over the top and they're getting layups. They got to get on the other side. They can't.
Halftime report coming your way next, as it's the midway point of the 3A title contest.
You're watching the Air Experts Heating and Cooling Halftime Report. Air Experts. Schedule your tune-up today at yourairexperts.com.
Well, hey there, everybody. Thank you all so much for tuning in to the State Championship High School Basketball Games. Joining us is our longstanding partner all the way from Ingalls Markets, Miss Melissa Level. Melissa, are you loving these excellent basketball games?
I love it. What a great season it's been, and the best of the best is right here now on television.
Best of the best is right. Now, let's talk about that longstanding and robust partnership between Ingalls and High School Championship Athletics. What all does that entail?
It's just absolutely wonderful to be able to connect with all the schools within our region. You know, we're in 6 states, and so we have Friday Night Lights with football, we do basketball, we have softball, even some Olympic-style sports, and we go all the way up through college, and then of course some minor leagues. But we just love that high school spirit and the fun with that. A lot of those players work with us. A lot of their parents have it, shop at our Ingalls. So it's kind of like a big family coming to watch all of them play, right? So we love that.
We'll love it as well. Melissa, as always, thank you for taking the time to speak with us here today.
Thank you.
All righty. Let's get back to the game, folks.
You're watching the Air Experts Heating and Cooling Halftime Report. Air Experts. Schedule your tune-up today at yourairexperts.com.
Championship week is always a special time for high school athletics in North Carolina. Joining us now is NCHSAA Commissioner Q Tucker to talk about what this event means for student athletes across the state. Commissioner Tucker, Championship week is finally here. What does this event mean for the student athletes who have worked all season to get to this stage?
All of the teams that are playing this week are regional champions. And so they entered this week as already a champion. And now they're trying to, put that cherry on the top, so to speak, and go home with a state championship.
This year's championships feature 16 games across 8 classifications for both boys and girls. What went into the decision to structure the championships this way?
A couple of years ago, the membership voted to amend our bylaws so that you could have no more than 64 schools in a classification. Now, it would have been very easy to stop at perhaps 6 classes, but at the rate we've been adding new schools, we would very quickly needed the membership to amend the bylaw again so that we could have more than 64 teams in a class, or we'd have to go ahead and have more classes. So the recommendation to our board of directors was that we go ahead and go to 8 classes, and that would give some flexibility in terms of adding new schools.
How does that expanded format create more opportunities for schools and student athletes across the state?
Because we have more schools that are getting into the playoffs than would have ever been in the playoffs, and they're able to make a deeper run. And that's exciting for those schools as well as for those communities.
For many of these athletes, this is the biggest stage they've ever played on. How does the association work with schools to prepare them for moments like this?
They needed to know, where your team will unload and how you get into the arena, what your dressing room situation will be like. Lawrence Joel Coliseum will be the largest arena they have been in for some of them. And so we just try to make sure that all the nuts and bolts are in place for the coaches to be able to share with the athletes.
When the final buzzer sounds on championship weekend, what do you hope every student athlete walks away remembering about this experience?
We want you to play hard. We want you to play to win, but we want you to do that and have fun so that you walk away and you think, we won, it was great, or we were runner-up, but it was great, and I had a great time with my teammates. For some of them, it would be the last time that they put on that high school jersey because they're seniors. So we want them to go away with those memories that will last a lifetime.
Commissioner Tucker, thanks for joining us, and congratulations to all the teams competing this week.
Thank you very much.
You're watching the Air Experts Heating and Cooling Halftime Report. Air Experts. Schedule your tune-up today at yourairexperts.com.
The gridiron home of the Deeks. We welcome you back to our Air Experts Halftime Report. Pleasure to have you with us on the Sinclair Family Networks. You've enjoyed a good one. Goldsboro and East Surry separated by just a couple of baskets at the intermission in the 3A championship game. And Coach, time to look back at some of the premier moments from that first half. What you're going to see, East Surry surge out to an advantage early. Goldsboro surges down the stretch and takes command at halftime late.
And East Surry shot 17% from the field, and they shot 0 for 5 from the 3. Hopefully they're going to make some more. And what I would like to see with Goldsboro is Boy is only taking 5 shots. She needs to touch the ball more, if not on her rebounds, but she's got to get involved with the game. And like I said, I think it's going to come down to foul shooting, and East Surry 77 right now, so you got to watch that. Goldsboro shot 2 for 4, so it's an interesting game. Both teams are very, very similar.
Always keeping an eye on the charity stripe. These are some of the big-time moments we've seen in this one already as our first half highlights entertain you. Let's take a look at the numbers. The arthritis knee pain center stats for the first half look like this.
Yeah, and the field goal percentage, 5 for 28 for East Surry. We got to straighten that up. 0 for 5. We got to straighten that up. The rest of it, everything is good, And Goldsboro, I really do believe, Boy needs to touch the ball more.
It's relief without surgery or opioids. It's the Arthritis Knee Pain Center, and they provide our stats. Of course, in the paint, 16-10 is the split. Those are your ready-to-roll garage doors. Points in the paint, Raleigh's garage door experts. Call them today. That is ready-to-roll garage doors. We'll be back with the third quarter. Cardinals and Cougars just about to hit the floor for the second half in the 3A title game. Back in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, the 3A state title contest. Our broadcast presented by Riddle and Riddle Injury Lawyers, continuing for you on the Sinclair family of networks. And boy, what a game this has proven to be. Through one half of action, they're separated by 4. Coach, I'll ask you as we get started here. Third quarter just about to get out of the way. Let's start with Goldsboro, who has the basketball to begin things. What adjustments do you need to see? I think I know what's coming. Well, here's a takeaway. We'll have to put that on pause. Quick takeaway, and Addison Boaz and company make a statement out of the intermission. They're down just a bucket.
Here's what I want to talk about at halftime.
Here's pressure, though.
Right. They've been pressuring, but we'll talk about
All right, we'll get back
after
on
this. Yeah, because they didn't do it that time.
We'll get back on it now. Goldsboro adjustments. I think I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, they want to put Boyer inside. Yeah. If not, she comes outside, but she has to go right back in to get a rebound. She has to become a key factor in this game.
How about East Surry? What do you see as the adjustments they would need to make in order to claim the title?
Just stay what they're doing and make some shots. And also, during the press, and we'll talk about it, they don't need a face guard because they keep throwing the ball over the top to Goldsboro. And they've gotten some easy buckets on a full court press. Other than that, it's going to be whoever makes more shots.
That's what it seems to come down to in this game so often. 7 and change.
Because they're taking good shots, you know, Jason?
Yep, absolutely. Freshly underway in the third. Just haven't been able to get some of those to fall. You're right, Coach. The shots have been there for the taking. Little disruption. Now gathering it up is Brown. And that's eventually out of bounds. Going to be East Surry basketball. Of course, this Goldsboro team, it has been their goal from the very beginning. She said since June, Coach Bryant told us, all we've talked about is a chance to win a ring, a chance to make the dream come true, a chance to close the deal. And you said it, she's done it with some of the fastest guards in the state. But talked about the practice, the work that these young ladies have put in. And they were grateful for the way she has pushed them. And it pays off in moments like this.
Got to take care of that basketball.
Goldsboro, of course, this is a team that is well conditioned. They run that full court, man-to-man, run it for about 32 minutes, right, if they can.
Pretty far out here. This is when they don't know the court because they're pretty far out.
And right now, offensively, things going well, but the foul underneath, and here comes an opportunity from the Tatum and Atkinson free throw line. Here's the foul, and Coach, I'm going to go back to that point you just made a moment ago as you see the foul. There's a difference in the court they're playing on right now, and it makes a difference in the way you set up your defense. Walk everybody through it.
Well, it's very obvious. Boyer came way out. But when you throw the ball to the wing in the college court, you're still far away from the basket. And they think the wing, they're coming over half court. And in high school, only 2 dribbles all right. It's 4 more dribbles to be at the same distance from the get the ball to the wing. But Boyer came way out to half court. She's used to come out and say, screw it, she was way out in half court setting it.
And the Tatum and Atkinson free throw falls. To your point, we've had high school coaches tell us over the years, the biggest adjustment is not even the depth perception behind the rim. The biggest adjustment is the length of the court for what they're used to playing on in terms of their gymnasiums, because you set it up based upon where the half-court line is, where the three-point line is, all different in a college environment. They're handling it well, though. Here's a bucket, down 4, and now a little trouble pushing that forward, and we got a whistle with 5:54 to play as Goldsboro wants to take a timeout.
You just feel for where you are on the court. You know, a college court, you know, could be as close. As soon as you come over half court, you got to go a little further. Because when you throw the ball, if you just come over and you throw the ball to the wing, which they're doing, they are so far from the basket when they try to start their offense.
Makes a difference, the length of the floor.
Very
for
hard.
Sure. Akeem Anastapulo going to be the sponsor of our play of the game. If you haven't seen it already, Akeem Anastapulo's law firm. He says, injured, don't scream. Call Akeem. Dial 800-ALL-7s. That is the Akeem Anastapulo play of the game. You'll see in just a bit. Both these teams have traveled well. Of course, this East Surry squad led by the 3 seniors. You see their fan base having made the trip down from that northern central part of the state of North Carolina, the champions out of the West. You know, they've been here all 5 years with Coach Jay Boaz, this senior group, and developed that chemistry in the process.
You know, Coach Boaz just came out and he called off the press. He stopped it. I think it's a good move because it wasn't that effective. You're going half-court trap.
They set up in the half-court instead, and that's going to be off the side of the iron.
See where they have a double team in the low post, Boyer?
Down the right side. That's going to be into the hands of Green, but taken right back away and handled beautifully by Naira Smith.
That's a turnover, bad turnover.
Naira Smith, the lead grows to 6 for Goldsboro. East Surry zipping a pass far side to Phillips. Of course, this group defeating Wilkes, North Wilkes, for
Goldsboro's doing a very good job man-to-man.
the first time since their freshman years that they were able to beat North Wilkes. With shots like this, they did it with a huge third quarter, Coach.
Right.
Trying to replicate that. That was in the semifinal. Trying to replicate that with a huge third quarter here in the championship round. They're within 4 now.
That's one of the few jump shots they've made.
Far side. Well, sometimes when the floodgates open, right, you
Yeah.
just never know. And Phillips, as the rebound, gets it into the hands of Boaz, our player to watch, the senior point guard, all-conference performer. Well, there he is, the player of the year in the conference. And a whistle as Goldsboro was trying to take it away.
You know, East Surry, they don't turn it over, they're getting good shots. It's when they turn it over, they don't get a shot. But they're getting good shots right now.
Yeah,
I think coach told them to calm down and just take the good ones, pass the ball around. And, you know, there's no shot clock, so take your time.
Getting some of those to fall. That's a first personal on Ford, who was whistled for the foul. And a little window in which to shoot. Won't fall for Phillips. Comes back into the hands of Green. It won't go for Addison Green either, the senior. Couldn't get it to fall. And it will stay on this end.
They need to
with
slow
Goldsboro.
down. They need to calm down and slow down.
Easier said than done, right?
Yeah, she didn't have anything. She was going.
Inbound for Goldsboro.
Oh, that's tough.
And going to be East Surry basketball on the far side. And trying to implore them. Remember, they said that what she has done in setting that goal, the goal of a ring, the goal of a championship. You know, she talked about how 3A East, previously 2A for her team, was an adjustment this year. They handled that adjustment, as with all others, very, very well. Lost in the 3rd round a season ago, have made it to the championship environment this time around. Here's a takeaway for Goldsboro. What'd you see on that possession?
A kick ball. That should have.
Didn't end up being a whistle. On this end, it works out. There's Boyer underneath. And as Coach has told you throughout the day, that's the bread and butter for the Cougars of Goldsboro. Lead back to 6. That's a high water mark. Priest will have it in her hands to slow it down a bit.
They're patient.
Here's a 3. Just the back of the iron. You know, that's been the case from three-point land in this one. They are 0 of 6 from beyond the arc, a team that usually shoots it well. When one of those falls, 1 or 2 of those begin to fall, could be a different story for East Surry. 2:55 left in the 3rd.
I believe a lot of that is the gym, the facility.
Can have something to do with it. You're exactly right. Brown weaves right through, just enough kiss high off the glass. And here is now the largest lead for Goldsboro.
They're going to have to score and then make some stops.
The crew out of the rural eastern part of the state of North Carolina representing themselves very well in Winston-Salem on this day. They're loving the triad moment as the lead has been pushed to its high water mark. Both teams battling as they fight for a 3A crown, and it is Goldsboro right now with East Surry at arm's length on our broadcast presented by Riddle & Riddle. Well, a look at our original Grills fan cam as we welcome you back to Winston-Salem, North Carolina. They're having fun because they got a great championship game to watch, and we thank our friends at Original Grills for giving you a window into just how much the fans are enjoying themselves this weekend. Elevate your grill game with Original Grills, the sponsors of our fan cam. All right, we turn our attention back to action here. 2:30 to play in the third, and Goldsboro's been on quite a spurt here, Coach, and they stay on quite a spurt. A takeaway by Brown, little whirling dervish action. She can't finish it, and it'll be rebounded by Phillips. Boy, that had a chance to really stretch it out right there.
Well, the coach came out of a timeout with a nice play and threw the ball threw the ball away.
Little disruption, and that's going to touch the sideline, and it'll be Goldsboro basketball. So Goldsboro right now, East Surry's got to be careful because Goldsboro in the position to begin to pull away a bit all of a sudden at the 2-minute mark third.
Well, East Surry has to score, and they have to stop right now. Goldsboro scored. I'm talking about right now.
Out top, Buckham puts it on the floor.
Well, they spread this out.
And Brown's
they go one-on-one.
Buckham has 7, Ford has 8, Smith has 6, Boyer with 6, Brown, who has the basketball, with 4. Those have been the scores for Goldsboro, and that's just a bit too strong. Guess who has it now? Put back true. Boyer, the 1,000-point-plus scorer for her career, adds to her total here today.
East Surry has to take their time.
The lead in double digits for the first time. And off the front of the rim, East Surry just needing something to fall. It will. Who else but Addison Boaz to make it happen?
8.
Cuts it to 8.
Now they can't give them an easy basket with this pressure. There's nothing wrong with pressure, but you don't want to give them a quick one. A quick, easy 2.
Addison Boaz, who just knocked home her 8th point of the contest. She leads everybody on the East Surry side right now. 8 for her, 3 for Smith, 2 for Sechrist, and just a bucket as well for Anderson, interestingly enough, for those two. Phillips with 4, Green with 4. When you talk about the scores for East Surry to this juncture.
They just need to stop, and all they're doing is trying to go one-on-one. They're spreading them out, you know.
Brown, down low, guess who? Well, this time it's Ford. Ford going to lay it home this time. Ford with a nice job to drop the bucket in at the 1-minute mark.
It's a nice offense. They're spreading it out.
Back to 10. Boyer home this time, and she'll block it on the other end. Boyer looking ahead. She's got help if she needs it, but decides to go coast to coast. Front of the iron. Put back not there. And a scramble for it. And they're going to say it hit the out-of-bound line. Will go the other way for East Surry.
I'll tell you what, there haven't been a lot of fouls. The officials done a great job. It's not a lot of fouls in this game.
Coming into the contest, Kennedy Barber is a sub. Reminder, we'll have a player of the game selection. Brought to you by Riddle & Riddle. Before the conclusion of this one, when justice counts, Riddle & Riddle, they'll be the sponsors a quarter or so from now of our player of the game. East Surry up the floor with it. Down 10 with a half minute to go in the third. Remember, this was a 1-point game at the break. So a 14-8 split here in the third. Or excuse me, just a couple of buckets between the 4 at the break. It was a 1-point game, a good portion of the first half. Tied at 17 at one point. But they've outscored them 14-8 in this quarter and the lead 10 overall. That could change as here's a trip to the line by virtue of this foul.
You know, Goldsboro plays really good man-to-man. When I say good, it's not overpowering or anything. They keep the player in front of them. They don't let him drive easily to the basket. And that's what's doing. They're making it hard.
This is
to score.
A team that shoots the free throw well when they can get there. Biddy Phillips knocks one down, the first of the Tatum and Atkinson free throws. Injured in a wreck. Call the heavy hitters at Tatum and Atkinson. And Biddy Phillips will see another one roll home. Phillips with 6 points in the contest. That'll cut it a little into single digits now. And we get a foul out top. And And with 12.9 to play, everything stops. Well, you can't see those Goldsboro colors. You certainly can't be here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, without thinking about our friend Dave Odom. His banner hangs in the rafters here, where he did so much of his good work in the ACC and beyond. Of course, a Goldsboro native, one of the favorite sons of Goldsboro, Dave Odom. And his banner looking down on this group from Goldsboro as they lead at 35-27. And by the way, Odom family still making some waves in North Carolina as we speak today, right? Yeah. Bryant has the Virginia Cavaliers playing in the semifinals of the ACC tournament just down the road in Charlotte. The Odom family, one of the great families in the history of basketball.
Yeah, he's a good friend of mine. Yeah. He's doing all right. He had a heart attack and he's doing better.
You know, we worked some games together over the years. I know you've known him for decades, and he's one of the great gentlemen in this game.
I knew him when he was in high school.
And what he's done here, what he did here, you know, the Tim Duncans and Randolph Childress eras, and certainly even Chris Paul and on down the line, with all the work to put Wake Forest University on the map basketball-wise in those days. Can't be here without thinking about the Odom family, and a big hello to them. And the Goldsboro native comes to mind with Goldsboro out front in this contest. East Surry looking to battle back. They got the basketball now. And just ahead of the horn, but it will not count. Trying to work it ahead of the horn, but it was behind the light, and it will not count, though the bucket went through the hoop. Goldsboro using a strong third quarter. They outscore East Surry 14-10, double the advantage as we head to the fourth on our Riddle to Riddle broadcast of the North Carolina High School Athletic Association state title games. Three quarters in the books, 8 separating them. Lead was 4 at half, 4 more in the third, creating the separations. You look at our arthritis knee pain center statistics through 3 quarters. We'll also show you our points in the paint, which are brought to you by Ready to Roll Garage Doors. And those are the 2 numbers that we're tracking for you along the way. Coach, what jumps out to you numbers-wise as we get back to work here in the fourth?
East Surry has to shoot a high percentage in this fourth quarter. And they've shot, you know, they're shooting 20% from the field. They have to shoot a high percent.
Well, that's a start.
One, and they have to slow down. They really don't. Decent defense.
They turned to the player of the year in Northwest 3A, 4A, Maggie Sechrist, who has the first bucket.
They have to go slow.
Here's Anderson now. Anderson, and that's too strong. Was there contact there? It's going to stay on this end of the floor, it appears. Going to remain East Surry basketball. A couple of key possessions for East Surry as they look to cut the lead in half here with 2 quick possessions of the basketball. Here was that last work as she worked her way close to the bucket. Anderson maintaining possession. That's turned aside, but it'll remain with the Cardinals. This is where those senior leaders rise to the occasion in the moments that count. Those that have been there for the 5 years under Coach Jay Boaz. Family connections, certainly this team having, as we say so often about the championship environment, become a family across the course of the year. 7:22 to play in the state title game. Underneath, Boaz, and that's into the hands of Boyer. Take away for Goldsboro. And down the lane it goes. That's going to roll off, but into the grasp of Ford. Back to Boyer, and the foul is going to be called, so a chance for Boyer now.
I was waiting for a whistle somewhere. I was waiting for something.
Well, they're working their way into the fourth quarter as well. Here's another look at the contact. Reaching over the body of Boyer. As a result, the see-through construction free throw line opportunity in effect, and Boyer a little too strong with that one. See-through construction, your contractor of choice on the OBX. It's see-through construction sponsoring our free throws in this fourth quarter.
Every possession East Surry has right now, they have to get a shot. They have to get a shot to put pressure on Goldsboro.
Second free throw, nothing but the twine, so the lead will grow to 7. 7 the lead, 7 minutes to play in the 3A women's season. Priest and her length, will it be a difference maker down the stretch here? We talked about the big hurdle they jumped as they took down North Wilkes for the first time since the freshman year of all these seniors. Of course, Betty Phillips, the sophomore, in there with that senior group out of the leadership crowd, and that's lost off the hands of Boaz. Out of bounds, going to be Goldsboro basketball.
But Goldsboro is really disrupting them. They got their hands in their faces, they're all over them.
Goldsboro making the jump, 2A to 3A East, and the 3A East champs looking strong right now. Second effort, it will go. Amaya Ford, one of the seniors for Goldsboro, and the lead stretches a little further. Try to work a pass down low. Boaz gathers it up. She'll zip one to the wing. Kinsey Smith, remember she's the all-conference performer. We've seen some valuable minutes as well. She'll try a 3. This would be huge, and that has been difficult in this one. 0 of 7 from three-point land for East Surry, and that's one of the major storylines of the day, Coach. A team that has shot it well from distance over the course of the year, not been able to get the lid off the bucket thus far today.
I'll give a lot of credit to Goldsboro. They're in their faces. They're not getting the really good looks. They're trying to get good looks, but they can't get them.
Yeah, tried to.
That's good pass there.
Yep, tried to work one there. It was not to be, but they do get it down to Secrease for the bucket.
They can't let this pass go over the head. They keep. All right.
Swatted away by Smith, but it stays with Goldsboro. And gathering it up, laying it off the glass is Ford. Well executed by Goldsboro.
It would be better for them to get out of that and just play a half-court defense. Just getting that's a third easy basket they got out of that.
Trying to make something happen. Boaz tries a 3, and she'll bank one in. The 8th try is the charm on the three-point bucket, and this is a huge Paramount Kia of Asheville three-pointer. You can visit ParamountAuto.com to find out more about Paramount Kia, but what you need to know about the three-pointer is that was the first East Surry has been able to get the fall. Addison Boaz putting together one of the key buckets of the contest for the Cardinals. Here's another look at it.
That was finally, they're taking good shots.
Sometimes you just gotta bounce one in off the glass, right?
Now the key to it right now is, all right, East Surry has been pressing after many shots. If they come out pressed, which they've been doing, they're letting the pass get over the top and it ends up 2-on-1 on the other end. They don't need to do that. They don't even need to press right now. They just stop Goldsboro. And don't do it that way because you're getting 2-on-1 breaks. But they stop Goldsboro in a half-court setting or half-court tracks.
Makes it a 6-point contest. Again, this team talking about it from back in June, Goldsboro, how they wanted to go after the ring, all the sacrifices they made across the course of the year to make that a reality. You think about the strong second half in the semis, how the culture was changed for that group. You look at East Surry and consider their journey here. Somebody's going to hoist a trophy. They're 5.5 away from doing so, and they're separated now by only 6. This has been a good push from East Surry to tighten the gap.
They changed the defense to a zone trap. Now, see, if they let one of these pass, that's what they don't want to do over there on that side. They don't want passes over the top.
You're talking about top of the screen.
Yeah,
Near takeaway. And who was it last touched by? Going to be East Surry basketball. Momentum with East Surry at the moment. They'll have possession on the baseline. What did Coach Boaz say to us in the press conference? Don't have to tell them to go. Sometimes have to tell them to whoa, but don't have to tell them to go. It is certainly go time now for East Surry. A drive to the bucket, an and one chance coming for Emery Anderson. Anderson, who had the first basket of the day, gets it to fall through the hoop, and she's got an and one coming. This will cut the lead in half again, and it'll be a one-possession basketball game if she makes from the see-through construction free throw line, and they're so good from that spot. It is a 3-point game in Winston-Salem. And a held ball. Possession arrow is with Goldsboro, or was a timeout granted Goldsboro. Goldsboro wanted a timeout as the tie-up was transpiring, and I believe the timeout was granted. So it was a timeout on the floor. Goldsboro will have the ball out of the timeout. Coach, what a push from East Surry right here all of a sudden. They finally got that 3-ball to fall. Couple of big takeaways defensively. Just like that, it's a one-possession game.
The last 2 possessions, Goldsboro against the Fuqua pressure, they've been throwing it over the top and going down and getting some. This time they took the guard and rode it to the corner and threw the ball to her twice. And she got trapped and lost the ball twice. So you need to look, you got to look north and south. The more you look east and west on the basketball court, you're in trouble. You got to go back and forth. You got to go up and down. Defenses do not like to play somebody who goes right at the basket all the time.
Coach Jefferson in there, the football quarterback room at UNC, that staff that's been put together by Jay Boaz. It talks about the big old hearts that he has seen alongside the athletic ability on this run for his team. And they showed both that heart and that ability here in the 4th quarter to cut it to a single possession. And now Goldsboro to inbound with 5 minutes. There's an eternity left in this.
Hold on, listen. They totally took everything. Offense is half court, so you got to move your defense back. That was a great move by Goldsboro. Great move. Great move.
Goldsboro on the inbound. Again, 5 minutes of basketball eternity left here. And another timeout's going to have to be burned by Goldsboro as they still have trouble working across the timeline.
Having trouble getting in. They should just...
So East Surry, suffice it to say, with all the momentum right now. Remember, it was Goldsboro by 4 at the half, Goldsboro by 8 at the end of the 3rd quarter. Goldsboro ran the lead to double digits at one point, but it is East Surry seemingly in command right now, though they trail it by 3. All the momentum on that western side right now.
It's all been caused by East Surry's defense, football pressure, but that hasn't bothered them the whole game. And for whatever reason, Goldsboro got out offensively doing what they do against that press, and they started passing the ball in the short corners over here when they've been passing the ball up the court. So let's see what they do when they come out, but you don't want to be throwing that ball in the short corners in the defense because they're going to trap you. It was amazing about I'm watching East Surry. And the key to this is they're seniors. These are composed kids. They've been through but if these are juniors and sophomores, they'd be panicking. They'd probably be down by 15. This team is composed.
We talked about Coach Jefferson Boaz. He was in the North Carolina quarterback room. He brings all that history from the football side to his basketball prowess. The son of Jay Boaz, obviously. You've got Kelly Monsinger. You've got Kyle Chenault, Andy Jessup, of course, Terry Lee, who handles the stats, all that contingency, trying to push toward the title, and they're doing it well right now. It's out of bounds to East Surry. Going to stay with the Cardinals.
3 turnovers in a row. 2 of them out of timeouts.
And perhaps ready to take one back. It'll stay with this group, however. Anderson to Smith. Smith down the right side. 1-point basketball game as the run continues for East Surry. Finally able to break it and work it across the timeline. Goldsboro with an answer. Laid home by Kennedy Barber, the freshman, no less, to stretch it back to 3.
Nice composure.
Anderson, and slowed back out. 3 from the other side, it won't go. Somehow the rebound was snatched initially by Smith. They're going to call a tie-up this time, and the possession arrow is with Goldsboro, so it will be Cougars ball up 3. Just another look at that sequence, Coach. Walk through what you saw.
Yeah, she was sneaky. She was right behind getting the rebound. East Surry.
Now Goldsboro having to work it in again.
That's the bad spot, but she's breaking it.
Smith breaks through. Had to grab the handle. Guess who? Down low. Laid home by Boyer. Goldsboro responding now at the 4-minute mark.
You don't want them scoring quickly. That's why that press sometimes it's not helpful. But then it is helpful.
Well, it was pretty helpful when they were making that comeback
Yeah,
run.
it
just doesn't get helpful in moments where they can break it. It's kind of one of those double-edged swords, so that much is sure. We'll be back to walk you through the balance of the 3A title game. Hey, they finally banked home a 3, and East Surry has made it incredibly interesting. Here in the 4th, though, Goldsboro is still out front with 3:45 to play. Goldsboro having shot 44% from the floor across the course of the contest, and since the first quarter, it has been the Cougars out front. As we welcome you back to our broadcast presented by Riddle and Riddle Entry Lawyers of the North Carolina High School Athletic Association 3A Women's Championship game. East Surry put quite an early 4th quarter run together to tighten the score. They got it down to 1 possession, and to the line goes Emery Anderson. She is at the see-through construction free throw line for some important ones. And Coach, you say so often it comes down to how well you shoot it from right here.
Yeah, they're a good foul shooting team. It's what East Surry does not want to do is give up a quick bucket easy inside. So
1 possession again as she makes them both from the see-through construction free throw line.
Make Goldsboro work for their basket, no matter what you give them. Don't give them a layup. Don't give them. Just watch what you do here too. You got to watch it. There's people wide open.
Trying to force the tie-up. They will. Possession arrow with East Surry. Down 3. The Cardinals will have the basketball at the 3.5-minute mark.
I'm not sure that defense is going to hold up there. They got lucky there. But there was people wide open underneath the basket.
Well,
here we go.
When they've had it, it has been that defense that was the catalyst for their comeback here in the 4th. And this thrown into the hands of one of the Cougars there, and now they're tied up again, and I mean tied up in terms of a jump ball, as we call it these days, the alternating possession arrow, and it's going to be with Goldsboro, so it is Cougars basketball. All right, Coach, 3:16 left in this one. Take me inside both scenarios right now. What does Goldsboro need to do to salt this away?
Be patient. Don't throw the ball away, but I want to watch this trap, East Surry's trap, because they're leaving people open. An easy basket's going to kill them. There we go.
Underneath. And a foul is called. And the official's going to talk about this just a little bit, and it is going to be. It's going to be a flagrant foul, intentional foul going to be called here, and that's costly with 3:07 to play. You said it, looked like somewhat of a sure bucket coming here, and the disruption is going to be called as intentional.
In the last possession, the same thing. They got lucky, got a jump ball out here, but people were wide open underneath. I would just want Goldsboro to really work to get 2 points.
Shots coming here. 44-41 is the Goldsboro advantage. And the Cougars looking for more at the see-through construction free throw line. Your contractor of choice on the OBX, that's see-through construction. Now 41-44 where we sit. Key free throws here. The second for Barber, whose points today you see on the screen. Give her 3 in the contest.
That's a big shot.
And the lead now goes to 4. So it becomes a 2-possession game right there. 3:07 is a lot of time.
Yeah.
Goldsboro answering East Surry here. From the corner. 3 ball.
That's a dagger.
Amari Buckham, the senior. That is just the second made 3 for Goldsboro, just the third between the two teams in the game. What a time for it. A critical Paramount Key of Asheville 3. And this is going to be Goldsboro's after the whistle, and just like that, Coach, a free throw took it to 2 possessions. A Paramount Key of Asheville 3 runs it back to 7 in the blink of an eye.
Yes.
Goldsboro, as a foul is going to be called on Biddy Phillips here.
There's a lot of time here, but a little panic here with the press.
Went to 7 pretty quickly, and inside 2:40 we will go.
I might have to trap now.
Takeaway, worked out. Smith had it in her hands. Forward to Secreast, and she will draw the foul from Buckham. And Secreast to the see-through construction free throw line. Well, this team having been really good from the charity stripe today. In fact, perfect in that category. They are 12 of 12 from the free throw line. And you can make it 13 of 13 as Secreast, the Northwest 3A, 4A Player of the Year, an all-conference performer, inches East Surry a little closer, and timeout is now going to be taken. It's a full timeout with 2:29 to play. All right, take us inside both these huddles. Give us a sense of what the conversation's like with 2:29 to go in the state title game.
Well, I'm not sure if Coach from East Surry would do this, but I'd start fouling certain players on Goldsboro. Just take a hold of the ball. So I would go foul. If certain players get it, I'd foul. And I don't know who,
What's
any of the ones that about fouling, but I'd have to go. I'm going to put them on the foul line.
What's the conversation in the Goldsboro huddle right now?
Just protect the ball. Just protect the ball. And defensively, they've done a heck of a job. But just protect the ball. I really believe that East Surry, they should trap and then foul.
Coach Khadijah Bryant, think about the staff she's put together. Charlie Colton, Tiana Christopher, Sarah McDuffie, the managers. Royal, Lewis, Hunt, Virginia Royal, Faith Lewis, DeAndrea Hunt, excuse me, Casey Young, and Dwight Sutton on stats. I believe we got both of the full staffs kind of mentioned there now because it takes an entire team unit to bring a group here to the state championships, and what Coach Bryant has done with this group, something remarkable. They hold the lead at 48-42, but again, we resume with Secreast on the free throw line, and the senior guard, an 1,000-point scorer, who reached that in the 3rd round in the win over Polk, is able to add another after the timeout. Coach, that cuts it to 48-43.
And if certain players get it, but weaker players, this is too easy.
Broken, and there's Barber. 2 in there on the other end. It's been a feast or famine scenario.
Right.
When they break it, it's a bucket. When they disrupt, they've made a comeback. But it is feast or famine that press, as it so often can be. And here's Secreast weaving through again, and the rebound away to Goldsboro. Here come the Cougars. Too strong. Barber tried to put it back. That was last touched by East Surry. It'll stay with the Cougars. Still 2 minutes and change remaining. The Goldsboro lead is 7, and she's coaching like her life depends on it right now.
She's done a heck of a job.
An amazing job.
A really good job.
With this team. And she talked about the way the changing of the culture took place when she came in, and how summer workouts and camps were such a part of it. They played summer league and they played fall league, and it's all so they could hoist a trophy on a day like this. Closing in on it, and here's a whistle and a foul. One thing Goldsboro does, you know that, and they've done under her leadership, and it's been their trademark, is they're going to put pressure on you. And she's telling them now, be smart with every move of the basketball. Back to the see-through construction free throw line, where they are 6 of 10 today, and you can make it 6 of 11. See-through construction. One more reminder, your contractor of choice on the OBX. It is see-through construction.
You know, East Surry's going to look back and go, well, we shot the ball really well, and that's all it was. They just missed. They didn't shoot like they did during the year.
You're in the Outer Banks. Give them a shout there for sure. Free throw's good on the second one. Lead still there for Goldsboro. Inside 2 minutes to play. Takeaway by Phillips. Plenty of time remaining. And East Surry with Anderson up the floor with it. 95 seconds to play in Winston-Salem. Just side of the iron. That's been so much of the story in this one. Team that shoots it so well, shooting less than 30%. And that won't fall. But the second effort for Kennedy Barber does. And with the freshman laying it home, the lead is all the way back out to double digits. They're starting to feel it, the Goldsboro contingency.
And you know what? I'm the type of coach I feel sorry for you, sorry. But Goldsboro did it. They made them play a tough, miss shots. They were the reason why their offense did.
You always feel that way regardless of who's on which side of this thing, and regardless of which team's out front when it comes down to this, because you got to think about it. You've been a Western champion or an Eastern champion to get here. Only one of these teams can hoist the trophy, and Goldsboro looking strong, as we told you earlier, in a building where one of Goldsboro's favorite sons made his name with the Demon Deacons. These Goldsboro natives, the Cougars, are making their mark on 3A high school basketball game in North Carolina with 118, all that separates them from the championship. Tell me what this Goldsboro team has done well, not just today, Coach, but all season long to put themselves in this spot.
Well, everything they did today, they did during the season.
Yes.
Right? They're just a solid team. Now that I've sat there and watched them, they're just solid. And I really like their defense. They don't jump at you, they don't go crazy, but they're going to keep the player in front of them. And they did a good job. That's the reason why East Surry had a tough time shooting. They made it tough for them to make shots.
Had a couple of key transfers come in. The young freshmen have been poised. The senior leadership has been strong, and a team with a strong second half in the semis has played a strong game throughout here in the state championship. This group that has shown up and bought in, now just a minute or so away from claiming the 3A championship.
Just making it hard for East Surry to shoot. Their defense is doing a tremendous job.
Taken away again.
Tremendous job.
Here's Buckham out front. Off the front of the rim, trying to put it back is Smith. She'll be fouled with 45.9 to play. Let's talk about some individual efforts in this one as they go to the see-through construction free throw line again on this foul. A fourth personal picked up there. Let's talk about some individual performers, Coach. 11 for Buckham, 11 for Boyer, and leading the way has been Amaya Ford, the senior, in jersey number 11, with 14 points to pace everybody. But a trio in double figures here for Goldsboro to lead the way. Into the contest is Leah Simpson, a senior forward for East Surry you saw there. And of course, Smith with 6 points for Goldsboro, looking for number 7. She'll find it at the see-through construction free throw line. How about that trio, though? Buckham, Ford, and of course, the work that's been done by Boyer all along the way.
I think Buckham has probably been, to me, the one that's run the show the whole game.
She has handled the ball
well. Hit the key shot over there. The 3 was a key shot.
And she's been pesky on defense. You talk about the 3 she hit from the corner. Remember the block earlier in the contest? And she's not a person that would be a candidate for that type of activity. But it just goes to show that she's been everywhere today.
She's relentless. She is. She's relentless on both ends.
What a day for Amari Buckham. Surry trying to make something happen, just 22 seconds to play, and that's been the story. Swatted away by Barber, as Goldsboro is moments away, seconds away now, 17 of them to be specific, from celebrating a title. That'll be another Lawrence Joel Veterans Memorial Coliseum moment for a crowd from Goldsboro. Quite fittingly, the colors similar. And the outcome impressive. There's just the second made 3 in this contest for East Surry, but it's going to come once Goldsboro had done enough work to claim the 3A crown. The Cougars of Goldsboro fulfilling the dream and accomplishing the goal that they've talked about since June. It'll be a ring on the finger, and the Eastern champion Goldsboro Cougars hoisting the trophy under the direction of Coach Bryant and her staff. What an amazing job they have done, and it all shakes out to a 54-46 final in the 3A state championship game. We'll come back, have the trophy presentation. You'll hear from Coach. We'll have the superlatives selected. So much more coming your way on our broadcast presented by Riddle & Riddle from Winston-Salem after the break. Goldsboro claiming the crown in 3A. What an afternoon for the Goldsboro Cougars. Dealt with an early deficit, but surged ahead, played first, and worked their way down the stretch to salt away a 54-46 win. And we're now joined by Coach Bryant courtside. And Coach, first things first, congratulations. You said this was the dream from all the way back in the early stages of the summer. Now it's a reality.
Yes, sir.
Walk us through what it's like over there on that sideline.
You know, I just have 10 girls that's just ready to play. Okay, and then they come out, they just give it their all every day in practice. You know, before the game, you know, we kind of just took in the moment. We got here early. We was able to kind of, you know, see the building, so that it wasn't intimidating. And man, those girls just play hard. They play hard. They just did a phenomenal job.
You took a pretty good punch from East Surry in the early going,
Absolutely.
But you have to love the way they responded.
Yes, I mean, East Surry is a very, very, very good team, very fundamentally sound. Got some good shooters up there, got good guard play. They run their sets very well. Much respect to East Surry. You know, very good team. I knew it was going to be a challenge coming in, but I'm glad that my girls rose above.
Your defense did everything. You stopped them. They couldn't shoot. They had a terrible shooting night. And it wasn't really because they had a shooting out. They weren't open. And you kept contesting shots. That last shot the girl blocked, she came from somewhere else. And that's all coaching. That's all coaching.
Absolutely.
It's great defense, solid defense. Good job.
Thank you.
It was really fun.
Thank
Did you go over that every day?
Oh, absolutely. You know, we've been playing man-to-man all season long. So, you know, things that we talk about four-man shell drill, getting the help, you know, getting in the denial, you know, making sure that we're there, stopping the ball, then recovering out. You know, Alyssa Brown, number 23, she's an amazing on-ball defender. She drops back, gets the help, comes back to the ball, and she's been doing that all season for us. So she definitely came in big right here when we needed her.
And I saw her do that.
Absolutely. She's
hard.
phenomenal in the help. She's phenomenal in the help.
And it's very solid defense. It's not a crazy crazy stealing stuff. It's very solid.
Yes, sir.
Coach, what does this mean to the community as we wrap up our interview with you? Walk us through what it means to Goldsboro. You got a Goldsboro Natives banner hanging in this building.
Absolutely.
Another moment in this building here for Goldsboro. What's it mean, Coach?
Oh, it means the world, not just to me, but to the community. I think they said it was about 40 years since we were able to do this. One of my player grandmother was a part of that championship team, so for her to be able to play her senior year, her 4 years here, and to be able to be a part of the team that brought home another championship for Goldsboro High School. You know, the community, not just Goldsboro High School, but the Wayne County community, from everybody, all the support. You know, it just means the world, not just, like I said, to Goldsboro, but to the whole Wayne County community.
Well, congratulations, Coach.
Thank
Go
you.
enjoy this with your team.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, what a moment for Coach Bryant, for the Goldsboro Cougars all the way around. And, Coach, you could see there in talking with the leader of this program why they've been so successful this year. She was dialed in from start to finish.
You could tell it, the way she talked about it. And I just saw it. The difference here was the defense that made East Surry shoot bad percentage. That's it. Both teams played very well.
All right, speaking of playing very well, let's look at some of the superlatives. We start with our Akeem Anastapulo play of the game. You referenced the three-pointer from Omari Buckham. It was timely, and it stands as our Akeem Anastapulo play of the game.
Yeah, that was the play of the game. Soon she made it, I said, that's a backbreaker. And
remember, that was right after the free throw, took it from one possession to two. She hit the three. The lead surged to 7. Timely, to say the least. And Akeem Anastapulo reminding you, don't scream, call Akeem. Dial 800-ALL-7s, sponsors of our play of the game. And our player of the game, well, it's what she did all season as well, Coach. Isaiah Boyer was a 1,000-point scorer in her career, and the senior led them here. She is our Riddle and Riddle player of the game.
I felt at the beginning she was going to be the key player because of the size. She does a great job, offensive rebounds, and that's how she scored at the end, was the offensive rebound right there.
And you saw her work on both ends of the floor, had the block on one end of the floor, the offensive rebound and the putback there, and the leader of this group of Goldsboro Cougars standing as our Riddle and Riddle player of the game. What a performance by the Goldsboro Cougars. Coach, you look back at this and you look back at a season, and it's now a championship season for Goldsboro. You've experienced those moments. You heard Coach say what it means to the community. Put it into words for the fans at home, how this is a moment that lasts not just for a season or a decade, but for a lifetime.
For the community, the players, all right, it's something that's special. Coaches think they're going to do it again. They're going to be coaching like 15, 20 years. Oh, I'll be back here. I'll be back here. But for the community and for the players, it is, it is what their goal. That's their goal. It's their goal. The players want to win championships. Only one team can do it.
This team did. You hear the reception for the Goldsboro Cougars as the medals are handed out, the trophy handed down. Big smile for Coach Bryant. Her team with 30 wins, a 30-win campaign. They go 30-2 here in 2025-2026. And put together a tremendous year. And now the announcement of the individual awards are coming. Well, calling for the Cougars to come receive the trophy. And basketball being handed over. Of course, the banner that will hang prominently, the latest of the banners to hang prominently in the gym there in Goldsboro. See the outstanding performers being heralded there. Amari Buckham, who we've talked about, the work that Alyssa Brown was able to do. Maya Ford, an outstanding performer, and obviously Isaiah Boyer, who we highlighted as our player to watch. Should just mention this team. Amari Buckham, Zero, Niera Smith, Amaya Ford, Alyssa Brown, Isaiah Boyer, Kennedy Barber, Alexis Keene, Hayden Davis, Desiree Thompson, Nariah Nelson. That's the group. Those were the players that brought a championship home for Coach Bryant and company. And coaches Lawton Christopher, McDuffie, managers Royal, Lewis, Hunt, and stats Young and Sutton handling those items. All those coaches, all those personnel members. For principal Mario Reef, for AD Ronnie McClary Jr., everybody will celebrate this Goldsboro championship. Here comes the announcement of the most outstanding player.
In East Surry High School, the most outstanding player, powered by United States Army National Guard. For the Cardinals was number 12, Addison Boaz.
Most outstanding player for the Cardinals is Addison Boaz. That'll make her uncle. Of course, she's the niece of Jay Boaz, who led this team to a Western championship this year and to the state championship environment. And it's a year that they'll talk about in that part of the state for ages to come. But the Boaz family, you think of Jay Boaz, the head coach, his 5 years there. Jefferson Boaz, who we talked about, his son on the staff. Here's his niece now receiving what the Boaz family has meant to that region of the state and to the state at large. It's hard to put into words. Congratulations to the senior guard, all-conference performer, Addison Boaz, who is selected as the outstanding player for East Surry. And on the Goldsboro Cougars side of things, Amaya Ford, another of the seniors in this contest today, selected as the outstanding player for the Cougars. And now we're going to have the most outstanding player of the 3A championship announced to stand alongside Amaya Ford. Ford, who in this one finished with 14 points to lead all scorers. 14 points, also mixed in some other key numbers here and there. And here comes the MVP announcement for the 3A championship.
Of course, with the Wolfpack, the Kay Yao MVP.
Of course, the MVP named after Kay Yao, who we all remember so well from her time in Raleigh with NC State. As you might have expected, Isaiah Boyer, the senior, she was a 1,000-point scorer in her career. She had 11 here today, alongside 11 total rebounds, a double-double in the state championship game. And she is the MVP in more ways than one for the Goldsboro Cougars.
She came through, she stayed steady. I really was just thinking, I have not seen, if they would have played in half-court defense, East Surry, she might have scored a bundle of points. Maybe they were pressing to keep the ball away from her.
Yeah, that ended up being a great game plan. They ran it right down to the wire when all was said and done. But it's Goldsboro's Cougars getting the job done, and congratulations to Isaiah Boyer as the most valuable player of the 3A championship contest. We're going to give you one more look at the numbers. We told you about some of the individuals that led the way. Here are the overall team numbers brought to you by Arthritis Knee Pain Center. Arthritis Knee Pain Center, relief without surgery or opioids. What are the numbers you'll take away from
field
this
goal
one, Coach?
percentage,
Yeah.
period.
Made the difference, didn't it?
It could be three-pointers and regular two-pointers.
Field goal percentage overall is they end up shooting 44% to the 26% for East Surry. Here are the points in the paint, as always, brought to you by Ready to Roll Garage Doors, Riley's Garage Door Experts. Big split there, too, 40-24.
Yeah, and I'm going to give all the credit because of the East Surry's bad shooting performance to Goldsboro.
Yeah, you got to.
I really do.
Disruption there for the Cougars from start to finish. Those are the key numbers from this one. Congratulations to the Goldsboro Cougars. The number that stands above them all, 54-46. That the final score as Goldsboro claims the crown. Big thank you to all of our sponsors, Riddle & Riddle Injury Lawyers, Air Experts, Heating and Cooling, Tatum and Atkinson, See-Through Construction, Ready to Roll Garage Doors, Arthritis Knee Pain Center, Akeem and Astapulo Law Firm, Paramount Auto, Tip Top Roofing, Original Grills, and Ingalls Markets, all making our broadcast possible. East Surry and Goldsboro gave you one to remember. In the end, the 3A ranks see Goldsboro's Cougars atop the hill. Another moment for a group from Goldsboro right here in Winston-Salem at Lawrence Joel Veterans Memorial Coliseum. Much more to come as Championship Friday rolls on in North Carolina in just a bit.